Hi, I'm Penny de Villiers, and welcome to Rebalanced Life, where we build workplaces that actually work for the people inside them. Today, we're diving into a quiet shift with major consequences: the EU's upcoming Right to Disconnect Directive. If you're in HR, IT, compliance, or leadership, this isn't something to bookmark for later. It's something to act on now. Because if your teams are still getting pinged after hours, that's no longer just a culture issue. It's becoming a compliance risk. Let's bring it to life. It's 3 a.m. A major inspector is reviewing your digital communication logs. She spots a Slack message sent to Milan or employees in Madrid after midnight. That one message could trigger a formal audit or a fine. And this is where the EU workplace law is headed, and fast. Burnout is now being treated as a health and safety risk, not just a personal issue. And here's what we're looking at. Burnout costs the EU economy 620 billion every year. And 67% of workers check emails outside of working hours. Remote work blurred. Every boundary and recovery time hasn't caught up. In April 2024, the Commission launched formal consultation. A draft directive is expected early in 2026. And enforcement could begin as early as 2028. If you lead a team or design the systems people rely on, subscribe now to stay ahead of what's coming. But let's take a step back and look at how we got here. This didn't just come out of nowhere. In 2017, France became the first country to write a right of disconnect into national law. By 2020, the European Parliament was calling for an EU-wide approach. Since then, Spain has proposed fines of up to 10,000 per employee, in a draft bill expected to pass later this year. France enforces up to 3,750 euros for failing to negotiate digital rest in annual talks. Belgium requires companies of 20 plus employees to codify disconnection rules. In the US and UK, so far, there's no statutory law. Now, the European Commission is stepping in to create a single standard across all its member states. And that standard will come with enforceable consequences. But here's what really matters. This isn't about catching up to trends. This isn't about governments finally responding to a systematic failure. Burnout's no longer just a buzzword. It's a measurable economic and medical reality. It affects productivity. It drives attrition. It destroys health. It costs the EU over 600 billion euro a year. So the logic is simple. If companies can't protect recovery time voluntarily, then the law has to step in to make it non-negotiable. This isn't just wellness. It's workplace sustainability, and recovery time is becoming a regulated resource. So what's in the proposed law? Here's what the directive is expected to include: a mandatory 11-hour digital silence between shifts, a do not contact policy for companies with more than 10 employees, proof of compliance using actual system logs, protection from retaliation for employees who mute notifications, and collective agreements that can only strengthen, not weaken, the default rules. If your tech stack can't demonstrate protected rest time, your company is exposed. Let's talk about 3 assumptions I still hear in leadership conversations and why they don't hold up anymore. First, we trust our people to manage their own boundaries. That's great. But regulators won't rely on trust. They'll rely on data. Second, we'll just handle this country by country. That sounds logical until you start facing 10,000 euro fines in Spain or penalties in France. And Belgium with its new liabilities. A unified EU-wide approach is safer, cleaner, and more defensible. And third is an HR issue. It's an HR issue? Not anymore. It's now a legal, finance, IT, HR issue altogether. If you treat it like a silo, you can face risks. So what are forward-thinking companies doing right now? They're setting system-wide quiet hours in Slack, Teams, and email. They're tracking something called the median daily disconnect window. That means the actual time between somebody logging off and logging back on. They're helping managers plan workloads so that people aren't being pushed into late-night rescue mode. They're including disconnect readiness clauses in vendor RFPs. They're holding quarterly cross-department reviews to red team their systems and spot gaps. This is how you move from guesswork to real accountability before enforcement arrives. Burnout has moved from invisible to measurable to legally actionable, and you can wait and react, or you can consciously lead. At Rebalanced Life, we help companies build systems that safeguard both your people and your performance before burnout becomes your biggest liability. Ready to future-proof your organization? Visit us at RebalancedLife.com and book a strategy session or a compliance check-in. And if you found this helpful, subscribe to stay ahead and stay human in how you lead.